Good morning. We're just going to recap and recap a little more. Some people are going to recap the recap. Some people weren't here. Just kind of where we got to, where we started, kind of got to. Some believe jealousy is a natural emotion. We defined it. We talked about where it could have began, some of the origins of it. We looked at some verses. Envy is rottenness to the bones, like cancer. It can eat at you. We looked at some other verses about envy. Who can stand before jealousy? Anger. We talked about being in short moments. I mean, jealousy is like a just slow cooking. Where can we experience it? Lots of different places. Looked at some Greek words that define jealousy. Looked at some examples, some attitudes that we should be aware of. This is where we were Wednesday. We looked at Paul and Apollos, the planter and the waterer. What's the most important on the depth chart? They're both first team, so it doesn't matter. They're both important, both equal. There's one purpose. Adding to a foundation, what and how is more important than who. When you're adding to a foundation, the issues that can be caused, that can arise when we focus on who builds. We talked about the apostles, and they were having an argument, or an argument about who was the greatest. Each of them were promised a seat at the table. What was the point of the argument? And then we looked at David and Saul, looking through the lens of jealousy. When we look through the lens of jealousy, the motives of others, they're never pure when you have jealousy and envy on your mind. They can't do anything right, no matter what they do, when we're looking through that lens. So we kind of got here. We should finish up in jealousy today, hopefully. We may dive into the questions. If not, we may start on 4. Lust. Yeah, lust. So before we begin, let's go to God in prayer. Lord, thank you for the day. Thank you for this opportunity we get to come together with like-minded Christians to learn more about your word, how you have us to conduct ourselves, how we can see these attributes that are not from you and clean our hearts, that we can be better lights in the communities and our families and everywhere we are present. Be with all the teachers this morning as they lead the classes. Give them a calm presence and a good remembrance of the things that they've prepared, and pray that the students are taking things away from that to benefit them and for your kingdom. Thankful for those who had come back safely, those who are traveling, be with them. May we always look for ways to serve and help one another. Thank you for your Son. We did for us on the cross, and we always bear that sacrifice in mind. Christ, we pray. Amen. So, I can't remember if we talked about this or not. If we have, I apologize. What are some ways we can mitigate envy and jealousy as it relates to spiritual and church rivalry? Always esteem others better than yourself. Yep. The purpose of anything spiritual and church related is to glorify God. So we can find ourselves getting into those apostle type attitudes with this. So I guess if your whole focus is how am I glorifying God instead of how are they doing this, that, and the other, ways to mitigate it. What about across the board in our lives? How do we mitigate Should envy and jealousy exist anywhere in our lives? I think we'd all would answer no. I mean, it's difficult for us to not to have some of that. But how do you mitigate it in things that are not church related? If that makes sense. Not spiritual related. Just, or is that something we should even be concerned with in general? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. A little bit of gratitude. Yeah, good point. That's right. Yeah, exactly. And it exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. There is something to be said about looking at the mirror and looking, at yourself. And I remember I watched the thing about Peyton Manning, Ron, where he was talking about. He said, "I'm not going to be the most athletic person," and clearly he wasn't. But he said I was going to be the most prepared person to play, the opposing team or whatever. So probably a lot of other quarterbacks when he was didn't do that. So yeah. Mm-hmm. There is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. That would be a little harder with having to be ranked and all that stuff. Yeah, that would be most definitely difficult to navigate. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. When you said that, I thought about when's the last time anybody's written a resume in here, brushed up your resume? Has it been a minute? 40. It's just say 43 years in the same spot. I know what that is. Uh, it's one of the most difficult things for me to even think about. I mean, just how do you, you're kind of bragging, but to your point, you have to know where your strengths are. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's difficult. Yeah, good. Mm, yeah, right, right. That's a really good point. Romans, I think it's Romans 12, can't remember the verse. Rejoice with those who rejoice, weep with those who weep. And I think we mentioned this in class. When we weep with those that we weep with I mean, we feel it, right? Do we have that same feeling on the other side when we rejoice with people? Or is there can there be some envy and jealousy in there? So, good stuff. Yes. Yeah, yeah. That jump off the page pretty quick. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. How can I? Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sir. Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Dealing with. Yeah. Anybody else? I want to kind of look at one more in terms of rivalry, where we read about rivalry. Philippians 1:12 through 18. If someone could read that, please. Yes, please. Thank you. So I did not write down the verses in Galatians 1, but I think it may say it one or two times. Paul's talking about, I think it's 6 through 10, about another gospel. And he says, if anyone, I'm paraphrasing, if you receive something that was contrary to what you said, what you heard from us, just let this person be accursed. So I think that's right. So we have cursing in Galatia, celebrating in Philippi. We understand this. Okay? Right? Mm-hmm. Right. So to your point, 15 and 17 in Philippians 1 talks about the motive, rivalry, envy. how would you afflict somebody in proclaiming Christ? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think yeah. I and point. There's no evidence of false teaching in Philippians when he's talking, but I think we understand that Paul would responded differently if it was from the Galatian passage. So yeah, right. Yeah, right. Right. I mean, to your point, Ron, that's it's the opposite of what the gospel would have us to act, right? I mean, we don't do anything out of selfish ambition. We do it to proclaim or glorify God. So it seems defective people teaching the truth is greater than people preaching a defective gospel. I mean, that's what we are. It's exactly what we are. Yeah. So the default answer is defective, and that didn't bother Paul at all. You know, they're preaching with way different motives than he was, but truth was still being proclaimed. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. And people who have been taught all their lives would understand that, but I guess the people in prison they weren't, you know, educated enough in the gospel yet. Yeah, proud of that. Yeah. So yeah, that's good. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, this is different than what you've been doing. Yeah. Right. Good point. I had thought somebody raised your hand. Sorry. I'd written down Matthew 23, 27, 28 when Jesus was talking to the Pharisees and the scribes for maybe not this situation, but if we find ourselves in that situation, I mean, can we become a whitewashed tomb, where we look good on the outside, but our motives on the inside, can appear very, very selfish, hypocritical, and wicked. So, mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Look how elegant I'm. Right. Very good. I think we kind of answered these questions. How would we encounter this if we see this happening, or do we just, if truth is being spoken, do we just kind of let it go? Because again, that's what we are, defective people. Truth. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. And you're situational. It could be lots of different ways, things that are happening. So. Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm. I mean, it's kind of like the John the Baptist Christ thing. I got to decrease so you can increase. But mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Everyone feel jealousy. It's so important. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Would it matter the source of being corrected? Can't just be some rando, right? Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think we'd all be honest, like depending on who it comes from, there would be should be an appreciation. I think you. I didn't notice that. Somebody else, random. Who are you? So yeah. Agree. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uh huh. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. So, kind of in conclusion, the book talks about vices. Alexander Pope did the extreme of vice. No creature owns it in the first degree, but thinks his neighbor is further gone than he. I like that. It's easy to see the improvements and that others need to make. I know I have problems. I know we've all said this. I have problems, and I know I need to make improvements. However, but this person, you know, um, and one of my favorites is I can't help it, just the way I am. I'm not going to change this. It's just kind of the way I'm made. It's the way I'm geared. So it's easy to see the improvements in others. So I think we've covered this. If envy is natural, we're going to experience it. Absolutely. We're going to experience it, but doesn't mean we have to give into it. I can't remember where I found this quote, and I probably should have cited it so y'all don't turn me in. To experience envy, 3 conditions have to be met. First, we must be confronted by the person or persons with something, possession, quality, or achievement that has eluded us for whatever reason. Second, we must desire that something for ourselves. And third, we must be personally pained by the associated emotions because it is this personal dimension that distinguishes envy from more detached feelings such as outrage or injustice. In sum, envy is the personal pain caused by the desire for the advantage of others. And I guess that's a book, Old Money, 1988. This guy describes the pain as envy as the most almost frantic sense of emptiness inside oneself, as if the pump of one's heart was sucking on air. Envy is mean and miserly, and arguably the most shameful of the deadly sins. Our envy is hardly ever admitted, often not even to ourselves. So, something to kind of think about. Just some. We got a lot more time. So, the envy is natural. We experience it. Yes, Cain and Abel. We must rule over it. How do we rule over envy? Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. The source. Should we consider the source when we experience envy? How? That's a good question. What do I mean by that? The source of the envy. Why am I feeling jealous and envy? I guess is why. Yeah, what are you jealous of? Yeah. Right. Yeah. 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 Well, I guess. Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Hmm. Yeah. I think Jim Holton said this one time. Sometimes you got to bust your own nose in life. You know, you can't. You can hear other people tell you don't shouldn't do this. Sometimes you got to bust your own nose, figure it out. Fun, but I guess this is where I'm kind of leaning, Michael. What do you think the largest sources of envy were 20, 25 years ago? Like, why would people be envy? Okay. Okay. No, I'm glad. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I was leading you, Tara. No, I was leading. I was trying to lead everybody else. Yeah. I got her, Eli. I got her. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Not to put the seasoned people on the spot here. what? What? Being genuine here. Envy. Would envy be just the person you saw next to you living? Would that? Would I mean, you didn't have social media obviously then, but does it? I guess it would affect you all, your generation versus what Tara said, the younger generation. Um, I don't know. That's it. We can quantify that or not. Go ahead. Oh yeah. Yeah. Wasn't in your face. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think there's some of that is missing. You know, you would go just talk to people, and it didn't matter. You know, I guess like first century Christians, they were all living together, and they all kind of had the same. You know, maybe somebody had something better than you, but I mean, you were all didn't matter. Yeah, yeah, because everyone around us was poor. Yeah, yeah, right. And when right when Karen's brother came and spoke, you know, about Cuba, they didn't know any better. They don't know any better because everybody's the same situation they are. Ooh, that's good. I like that. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. We, we had a conversation this morning on the way here. I hate car problems, and Jessica hates paying for car problems. So we just, sometimes the cars don't get fixed. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very good. Do you have something? Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So, if that's a large source of us for us today, um, how do we? What? Well, so that's a huge question. Yeah. Well, how did? Right. Yeah. 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 Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No question. Right. Yeah. That's okay. I'm out. Out here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Agree. Yeah. Yeah. Next right thing. That's right. That's good. Um, with any other, I got about 5 minutes. Any other advice? Like I remember we've had classes about porn. You know, if it's a problem, you remove it and you replace. If social media causes so much jealousy that I mean, does it affect me physically? Am I obsessive about it? I mean, what? I'm saying we all go on a crusade of of getting rid of social media, but I mean, what should be the steps you take? I think Tara hit it. Take a break from it. You don't take a break from porn. You should, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. Curtis Harris watches news on repeat all the time, and when I go over there, I'm like, "Can we something else?" Yeah. I'm talking to everybody. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Oh, look here. Mhm. No, no, no. It's a good point. I mean, that's what we're taught. If it offends you, cut it off. So that's good. Yeah. Right. Mm. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Tu- Musk. Yeah. Has to be. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Thank you all for your thoughts.